What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and I am here to drop some knowledge bombs right on you. Some are dropping science, but I'm dropping English. It's that easy. And I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off with this video because I'm bad-mouthing the hot game, which is where people love to get flustered and pissed off at everything. So, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, the poorly acronymed and misacronymed PUBG, because Battlegrounds is one acronym letter, it's a B, it's not a BG. So the proper acronym for the game would be PUB, or pub. So, yeah, take that. And I specifically wanted to wait until this game came out, or well, if it can even so be called a game, come out of early access and officially hit version 1.0. This obviously only applies to the PC version at the time, because the Xbox One version is like 0.01 with how bad of a state it's in. But the PC version released properly a few days ago as version 1.0, which signifies a proper full release, not early access, proper full release code. And here I'm wondering, why is this game getting treated differently? Why is this game not being held up to the same standard? Now, we're going to completely ignore the Xbox One version for the moment, and its absolutely terrible performance, and the fact that the game even exists on the console in the state that it's in. We're going to completely disregard that. And we're going to look at the PC version, because the PC version is the only version that is full final release code. This is 1.0, I know I've said it before, but this is the official full release of the game. And why are people not up in arms? Like, why is this game not getting removed off Steam? Why is there not mass backlash to the point of refunds and press releases and promises, etc., etc.? With the state that this game is in, and how atrocious it is in every single way, as well as how development has been handled, this game should not be on sale. Now, I find it's very fitting that a few days ago I actually started Batman Arkham Knight on PC, and that's why you're seeing this footage, but it's also especially fitting because the last time we saw a game in this bad of a state on its initial 1.0 code release was Batman Arkham Knight on PC in 2015. Remember that? I do. I remember there being absolutely terrible options, the game being extremely poorly optimized, the game being hard capped at 30 frames per second, the game not properly recognizing more than 4 gigabytes of RAM, of VRAM, to allow higher quality textures, and overall it's pretty much gone down as the worst ported PC game of all time. Granted, it was fixed for many people, myself included, and now it runs great, but there are some people out there that are still running problem, even with high-end PCs. And if you don't remember, back then, Arkham Knight was pulled from Steam for about 6 months while they patched it again and again and again and again, and then re-released it and patched it again and again and again and again, and even extended the refunds for about 8 months, no questions asked, because it launched in, I believe it was June, and they extended the refunds up until I think it was December 31st of that year, and no matter how much time you had in the game, you could refund it. Now, I got the game for free, but that's a whole other story. A friend of mine gave me a code. But there was such mass outcry and outrage over Arkham Knight and its bullshit release code PC port, which is in probably a similar state, if not better, than PlayerUnknown Battleground. Now, because don't forget, this game released on Steam in early access 8 months ago, in March of 2017. And since then, from what I hear, by the way, I don't play the game, but from what I hear from dozens, hundreds, thousands of people all over the internet and in person, is that this game is atrocious. This game should not exist in this state. And many of the updates and, I'll use the term very loosely, improvements that they've done over the last 8 months, especially on the 1.0 release, are absolutely laughable and are just to, I won't even say improve the game, but to add in more fluff rather than actually get the game working. Because right now the game is an unoptimized mess. It joins some of the most poorly optimized games out there in history, such as the release code of Arkham Knight, Ark Survival Evolved, and Crysis. Yes, people, believe it or not, while Crysis was ahead of its time graphically, and it did push the envelope, a lot of people forget it was an extremely poorly coded and unoptimized engine. It's not just down to how it looked. But that can't really be said for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, because that runs on Unreal Engine, one of the easiest engines to use, and an extremely scalable engine. And speaking of an extremely scalable engine, let's look at the official system requirements for PlayerUnknown's Battleground. You need a 64-bit operating system, Windows 7, 8.1 or 10, that's a given. if you are running a 32-bit operating system nowadays, you should have your computer taken off you. You need a Core i3 4340 or an AMD FX 6800. My bad, that's a 6300. 6 gigabytes of RAM, a GeForce GTX 660 2GB, which is roughly the equivalent of of base Xbox One, or an AMD Radeon HD 7850, kind of in around the same thing. Obviously, DirectX 11 card and 30 gigabytes of storage space. That part is basically irrelevant. But this game is in such a bad state, and you can argue, okay, it's like, oh, early access, this, that, and the other. Yeah, for the most part, this doesn't apply over the last like 7 or 8 months. This doesn't apply for anyone who bought the game in early access up until this point, because those people deserve better. And this, mind you, is a game that sold over 25 million units on Steam. Steam alone has over 25 million units at $30, €30, 30 whatever a pop. That's a shitload of money. And I think it's already sold something like 1 million plus copies on Xbox One. But this game is atrocious. I'm not even going to get into the basic nature of the game. Let's face it, it's a one life team deathmatch. Something that we've had for 2 decades. I don't know why it's so popular. My only theory is that because every other game for multiplayer now has so many gimmicks that people have just forgot raw basic one life deathmatch, and now this seems like a foreign concept to them, so whatever. But I'm not here to talk about the actual quality of the game. I'm here to talk about the content, or the lack of which. Because there's 2 maps. One map only added, like, on release. Like, what is it? 1 mode, 2 maps. Official 1.0 game code. This would have all been somewhat acceptable over the course of early access. But from what I hear, it's like they've done basically nothing over early access. And this kind of will tie in slightly with the Xbox One version, because Microsoft brought in the Coalition, the team behind Gears 4, to help them out with optimizations for the Unreal Engine. And we've all seen what the Coalition can do with the Unreal Engine. Look at Gears of War 4 on PC. And something you have to remember with this as well is that earlier on in 2017, it was announced that the studio behind PlayerUnknown's Battleground now has the financial backing and support of a major Asian publisher. So they have the money behind this. They have the resources, the funds, everything available to them. But they're pumping out this piece of shit game that should in no way, shape, or form be released. When I look at stuff regarding this game, regarding its performance, level of optimization, the quality therein, or lack of which, I look at this game and I'm thinking this is an alpha. This is not 1.0 code. This is alpha quality level shit. And here's something that blows my mind. Do you guys remember where back in the day, games companies, developers, publishers, whoever it was, actually had paid beta testing teams and paid quality assurance teams? Now you can argue that Bluehole Studios, when they first set out to do this and first released in early access, they didn't have all this large funding and availability to them. But now they do. But not only are they not doing that, they're making you pay for it and doing it for them. And from what it sounds like, is they're basically ignoring everyone and just doing their own thing. So I am absolutely gobsmacked that people are not up in arms over this game, that have it taken down off Steam after its 1.0 release. As it stands at the moment, forget the barrenness of the content. You know, the 1 mode, the 2 maps, forget all that stuff. Or let me change that around. Look at it in the sense that it feels like you're getting maybe 10% of what should be in a final build of this game, in its 1.0 build. Now I know gamers out there, a lot of them these days are just casual fucks that will bend over and take whatever is given to them. Many of them won't ask for better, they won't demand for better. And at the end of the day, this doesn't affect me whatsoever, because I never, ever plan on playing this game even once. But I just don't understand why and how 25 million people can be... Actually, I can't even say 25 million people, because many of them did buy it before early access. But at the same time, the game did hit full release, and they still have the right to be up in arms. And I don't understand how they're not, as well as anyone who has bought the game after 1.0. Because I'm sure many of the people who bought it over the last 8 months before it hit full release expected the game to be working better, running better, and probably have a lot more content actually in the game when it hit 1.0. I'm sure back in March, April, May, June, July, August, whatever, if you had asked anyone that played this game what they expected of 1.0, what we got in 1.0 wouldn't have been their answer. And remember, at the same time, this is a game that when version 1.0 hit, the servers completely exploded and completely died, which makes no sense whatsoever. It's not like they instantly jumped up 5 million sales and 5 million concurrent users in a week. But again, I feel completely qualified to say this, because the dude in charge of it is Irish. I'm sure he has a very Irish mentality about it, which means he's probably a fucking gobshite about it. And I can say this as an Irishman who hates the Irish attitude. And from what I see him talking about in interviews and on camera and all this stuff, he seems like he has that attitude. Up, down, left, right, and center. So how is this game still on Steam? It's ridiculous. I don't understand it whatsoever. Probably because Steam gets a 30% cut of every sale made, so that's a shitload of money. But I just don't understand why people will sit there and take this and say this is okay as a 1.0 final release. This would be the equivalent of the code you would get, the game and product you would get if you could walk to a store and buy a copy of this game. This is what you would get. Because if you haven't noticed, this game arguably looks and plays worse than DayZ and H1Z1. And it's almost the same game. And guess what? They're still in early access for good damn reason. Anyway, what do you think about the whole situation? Do you think this game should be removed from Steam because of its absolutely atrocious performance and its absolutely atrocious version 1.0? Where do you stand on it? I'm not saying you can't enjoy the game and have fun with it. That's a whole other story. But there's a level of quality involved, people. A level of standards that you should have. And it looks like about 25 million of you don't have them. Let me know your opinions on it. What camp you sit on? Are you waiting for the game to actually be justified as a proper game before buying it? Because it's a fucking mess and content light out the arse. Hell, this game makes Street Fighter V Launch Edition look feature packed. But let me know the whole thing, as well as feel free to leave all your hate comments in the comments section, because let's face it, if you talk shit about the hot new thing, even though it's completely justified, people are going to hate on you for whatever reason as it is. So let me know all that good stuff in the comments section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, go ahead and do the smart thing and refund your copy of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Maybe buy it in a year or two from now when it's got more than 2 maps and 1 mode and might actually resemble something like a game that would actually run. And I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.